And thing is that the more the higher version, like let's say 12, 16, 32, the more amount of like, let's say, for an example, when in the FAT12, the file size was only 32 MB. So you can only store those files which the size of that file should be less than 32 MB, should be less than greater than equal to 32, less than equal to 32 MB. Okay, you won't be able to store any file, let's say a 1 GB file in a FAT12 kind of a system. All the files should be, the max size should be 32 MB. Okay, so that's what kind of like a basic difference between all these versions. In the 32, in the 32, in the 32 bit, what you can do is that you can keep a file even if it is like 8 terabytes of file in the 32 bits. Okay, if the thing is that, let's say, the drive has been formatted with FAT32 system, theoretically it allows actually to keep a file, any file which is like, let's say the max size 8 terabytes, so you can store that in that file system and you will be able to kind of keep track of that in a theoretical way. Okay, so that is kind of a quick kind of a, let's say, a quick introduction about what's the differences between the versions of the FAT file system. So FAT file system and different version, 12, 16, 32. Let's say the 16 one, in the 16 one you can only save a file, the max size will be 2 GB, not more than that. If you are trying to copy a 4 GB file, you can't do that. The operating system won't allow to do that. Okay, so that's all for the file system. And let me see if I have any other things to kind of okay, now what we'll do is that okay, so I think let's quickly go to my notes if I have any other things to kind of discuss about the FAT. Yeah, I think we are all done. Again, the XFAT was something which was again developed by the Windows, and it is just kind of an improvement over the older versions like FAT12, FAT16, FAT32. It is just kind of an older, like an improvement in the XFAT. Okay, and let me just quickly see my notes. And then there is something called as NTFS. Okay, which is something which will be very, very important for us, because whenever we'll be kind of dealing with any Windows operating system, 99% of the case, the file system will be NTFS, the one that we are seeing over here, that is NTFS. Okay, so what's NTFS? So let me quickly see if I have anything for this one. Okay. So NTFS, why NTFS came into picture in the world? The only thing is that it has increased reliability, and it can also support long and short file names. So from the reliability purpose, we'll kind of understand what that reliability is. Like there are a lot of error checkings and all that NTFS supports. And so it's actually fairly complex, and it actually has built-in recovery capabilities. Okay, so for an example, let's say we have this MFT record over here, the one that we were saying over here, the MFT record, which actually keep track of all the files that are present on this drive. Let's say somehow this MFT file got corrupted, and what will happen is that if this MFT file got corrupted, we won't be able to see what all files were there in that drive. So what NTFS does is that it actually what I will say is that it actually creates a backup of this MFT file, okay, at somewhere in the drive. I think that should be MFT mirror or MFT backup. There was a file about that. So thing is that what does is that if this original MFT file has been deleted, so thing is that the Windows operating system will be able to kind of get the backup MFT file. It will be able to search where that backup MFT file is existing. And what it will do is that it will again be able to kind of pass a Windows operating system that drive for you, basically. And those things were not possible in the FAT, but in the NTFS, there are like increased reliability, and it will kind of keep kind of make those things for you. Like it will take care of all those things for you. Like empty backup is done, and the restoration of backup is done whenever the original empty file has been kind of little bit like that. It has been distorted or it has been kind of tampered with annoying by some means. Okay, so the file size, it has also some file size limitations in the NTFS file system. Uh, Theoretically, file size limitation is that you can store any file uh, of 16 exabytes. It's quite huge. Okay, in FAT file system we're saying till 8 terabytes, but in NTFS it support a single file, even though it is of 16 exabyte. You can store that in the NTFS if the space is there. Okay, and the maximum. So that's one of the thing, and the maximum is so this is via theory, and in the real scenario, actually it supports just 16 terabytes, not 16 exabyte. But in theoretical way, it can support till 16 exabyte. And in real scenario, a file can be from 16 to 256 terabytes. Okay, and you can kind of save that in the NTFS system. Okay, now in the NTFS system, there are again kind of lot of kind of different sections. Let's say there are certain files in this NTFS file system, and let's say this file, or let's say this file was deleted, for an example. So guys, I'm just trying to give you an overview what all things will come up, and just trying to kind of make you guys understand. Let's say this file was deleted, for an example. Okay, so even if this file was deleted, you can actually recover the data of that. Like even let's say I deleted that file, I can actually recover that file even though it is deleted, because there are few things which NTFS actually records. Even though you delete certain files, it actually records certain thing about that deleted file. Records. So what the record of deleted files are, so I'll just quickly kind of go through that. So the first thing is the file name. So it will actually record what the file name was of the deleted file. It will record that up. And then it will also record the metadata, like what was that file size, when it was created, and then kind of what were the permissions to those files, like was it readable, what was it writable, was it executable. So those all things, and so those all things are there. And then the other thing what it also does is that there is a data layer. There is a data layer in the NTFS data layer, which actually records the actual data of the file, the actual data of the file. And thing is that when you delete certain file, so what it will do is that, let's say I delete this file, for example, let me just quickly pick one of the file from here, a good one. Let's say this file, okay? And let's say this file was deleted, so it will have, NTFS will record the name, so you can kind of recover the name of the file. You can recover the metadata of that file. Like for example, metadata, I mean like when it was modified, when it was created, when it got accessed. So these all things will be there. The other thing is that the data layer of this file, which actually records the content of this file in the drive, will be only be tagged as unallocated. So for an example, what I mean to say is that, let's say this is the NTFS file system, and you delete, and there's a file existing over here. Okay, the name of the file is F1. Okay, F1. And now let's say you delete this file. So what will happen is that NTFS will keep record of, like, okay, there was a F1 file present before, which is now deleted, and this is the metadata of that file. It will record that too. And what it will do is that, let's suppose this is a data area of that file F1, where the actual data of F1 is residing on the hard drive. Okay, so what NTFS will do is that there are two flags. There are two different kind of flags for this data area. One is like unallocated, one is like allocated. So what NTFS will do is that when you delete the NTFS, when we delete this file 1,